My name's Hugh, I coordinate the Frome Food Network. We're a collective of more than 100 people involved in the local food environment in some way or another. So those are growers, farmers, through to bakers, restaurateurs, chefs, etc. And the reason this collective came together was to try and work more collaboratively towards a more sustainable, interesting and vibrant food town. And Field to Fork over on Whitemill Lane, just outside Frome, is one such initiative. This is a community market garden which Caroline co-founded in 2019, and she's here to talk through some things around the community kitchen which is proposed here at Mayday Saxon Vale. Over the past few years or so, Caroline has looked at ways in which a community kitchen could work in the town, so it's a bit of a no-brainer to have her as part of the conversation.
So my name's Caroline, I'm from Frome Field to Fork. We are a community market garden with a focus on helping people to reskill, to learn how to grow and to cook together. And we're also trying to strengthen the local food network. Why I'm here is because over the last 13 years I've been working towards community food projects. I started with Sustainable Frome, developing a bit of a sustainable food strategy, and that led to starting up Incredible Edible Frome, which ran for some years. And while I was voluntarily running that as well, I also worked in catering. And while I was doing that, speaking to all different kinds of people who are all in the food industry, and working out what resources were actually available in the local area, it became really clear that there was a need for a large, well-equipped community kitchen that could be used for educational purposes or for processing and adding value to local food products. And that's why when Mayday reached out, I stepped up and said, well look, I've done a lot of thinking about that. So what might a community kitchen look like? So you can see here we've added in a really lovely, large, well-equipped kitchen space. That large one at the top there, that could be used for doing workshops, it could be used for large-scale catering. And then we had to think about it, and on the left there you can see we've added in a couple of smaller kitchens, and these could be created in a modular design so that they can be used either separately or together for a larger use. On the right hand side there you can see we've got storage, and this is because after speaking with many people within the Frome Food Network, we saw a need for a centrally located hub where local food producers could store food for distribution to the local food businesses. And then you can see the two little freezer signs there. That's just to add in the thought that we would love to have some cold storage and also maybe a freezer that could be used for creating some frozen Frome products. So what might a community kitchen look like? So we're going to start with one of the smaller kitchens. In the daytime we could have a new food business just starting up, and they can be incubated for maybe 3 months. And obviously within the community kitchen there'll be a wealth of knowledge and expertise, and they will be able to get support to improve their business plan, think about their products and start creating those. And then in the evening, a small group of young people with mental health issues are coming together to learn how to bake bread. And then we've got the second kitchen. So in the second kitchen, we can have an established food business who just needs a space where they can actually process and package their product. And they might be able to rent it out for a week or a month, depending on what their needs were. And then in the evening, you could have local community projects such as ourselves coming along with their volunteers, learning how to make chutney together. So in the larger kitchen space, in the morning, We could have local food waste businesses who are supplying some ingredients, and then local food producers who are supplying some of the ingredients. And the chefs from the kitchen can create a communal meal for lunch. And they can work with apprentices, and instead of just cooking enough for lunch, they can cook twice as much as they need, and then process and package some of that to create maybe a frozen free meal. And then in the evening, this same kitchen, which is beautifully large and really professional, a local catering company and a local vineyard can come together and create a hyper-local fine dining experience. So they'll be cooking up a storm, but also using the space to take promotional photographs for their own marketing purposes. So as well as the kitchen spaces, we really want to have somewhere that's a multifunctional event space to go with it. Somewhere that we can eat together, we can celebrate food together, and this could be a location that would be prime for our community fridge and community larder. It could be a sales point as well, and just gives lots of different options for using the space together. So what can we use the multifunctional event space for? Well, first thing in the morning, we've got wonderful Loop Frome who collect food waste. So they could come collect all the food waste from the community kitchen and take it away and turn it into compost for the community. It's also, that's the time when the chefs from the local food businesses, restaurants and cafes, they can come and actually pick up veg from the hub and take it away for that day. We could even have an electric bicycle that does deliveries for those people that can't come and pick up as well. And then later on in the morning, there's a safe space where people can come together, have a cuppa, people who are working in the kitchen or people who might be visiting the community fridge, they can come and have a cuppa and meet with each other. And then we've spoken about this great idea for a communal lunch. And this is something that's been a little bit inspired by projects such as the Long Table in Stroud or Coexist in Bristol, trying to create a space where people can come together, they can eat together and on a pay-as-you-can system so that it's absolutely accessible to everybody. And the great thing about this would be that there would be that space for people to connect with each other with their food and really celebrate it. Maybe this could be on a weekly basis and would become a real central point of Frome's town. And then in the evening, we've spoken about this fine dining experience. The multifunctional event space can be absolutely transformed into a beautiful restaurant where people can come and experience something that's a little bit more upmarket. So obviously there are loads of benefits of creating a community kitchen here in Frome, but I just wanted to pull out some of the most important ones for me. And really the crux of it for me is that the commercial uses of a community kitchen will support the community uses. So it becomes economically viable for everybody that wants to use it. And then we have the opportunities for reaching out and actually working together with other organisations, with schools or with the local social services to try and create links for young people, for people who are marginalised and give them opportunities as well. And then really importantly, it's about improving the visibility of local food and awareness of what we actually have available in this wonderful region, which is full of food. And then really importantly, it's about improving the resilience of our town and the resilience in food, but also in community, creating those spaces where we can connect with food, with each other and celebrate it.
So it's probably worth, given what Caroline said, giving you a sense of the demand for a community kitchen. And one of those is we've got things like Route Connections, which is a social enterprise and community market garden just outside Frome. We've got Beta Fowler, who's a supper club host. and we've got people like Paola, who's at Get Pickled, which is she's a fermenter and pickler. That gives you a sense of the demand that's there in order to feed into the community kitchen, and what a typical day at the kitchen might look like. And the other thing is that Mayday Saxavale are interested in exploring what could work in terms of a market here. And as someone who manages the Somerset Farmers Markets once a month in the middle of town, we can definitely see some space for 20-odd producers, small scale, agroecological farmers potentially. But that would sort of necessitate a footfall of about 1,000 people across the time span of a few hours. So if that could be a sort of an assurance in place, then there's every reason that a market could happen here. Yeah.